All right, in this video, I'm going to show you a couple things. The first thing that I want to talk about in chapter 2 is they talked about structural elements within your HTML. And I'd like you to go into your About Me page this week and add structural elements. So the first one they talked about was the header. And the header usually is at the very top of the website. And it can contain the logo, the name of the company, some other information as well, but it usually goes up at the top. And then after that, we have the nav. And the nav tag is going to hold our navigation bar, which we'll talk about navigation in just a little bit. Then we have another section which is called main. And our main section is where all our main content is. So I'm going to put that tag in here as well. And then the last of the structural elements is the footer. And that goes at the bottom. Usually the footer might have the business name again, the copyright information. It can also have important links, a map, and other information that you want to put in a footer. So those are our structural elements, and your book talked about these in chapter 2, and I think for your homework you already put structural elements into another site. So that's the first thing that I want you to do this week is add structural elements. The second thing I want to talk about is how to add HTML comments. So comments are important because it tells us what we did, because when we code, you're gonna notice that you sort of get into the groove and you start coding and everything makes perfect sense, and then you open up your website a couple weeks or a couple years later and all of a sudden you don't understand any of the code that you put in, even though when you were doing it you were sure you were not going to forget. So we're going to start commenting our code. You're just going to right now put some small comments in, but eventually whenever you put elements in, you're going to start commenting them out so you know where they are. And when I look at your code, I know what it is. And so the way we do a comment, it actually does not show up in HTML in our website. So on our web page, you will not see a comment, but it will be visible in your HTML. The way you do your comment is a less than sign, an exclamation mark, 2 dashes. And you'll see that my content just grayed out because I started a comment. And I'm going to say this is where my navigation bar will go. And then to end my comment, I do 2 dashes and a greater than sign. So that is how I put my comment in. I can then take this comment. I can copy it if I want because I'm lazy and I don't want to retype it. And I can go down and I can say, bulleted list goes here. If you were working on this with a lot of people, you could at the very top, you could comment out some more information so people knew about when you started it. So I could put author name and I could put my name. And I could also go in and put in a date. Now, one other thing to notice about comments is if you're trying to troubleshoot your code and things aren't working, you can use comments to block out specific areas of your code so that you can troubleshoot and find your errors. You might find that that's helpful later on when your code gets a little bit more complicated. But for now, I want you to put some comments in your code. So you're going to add structural elements to your About Me index.html page, and then after that, you're going to add comments. After you're done with that, it's time to work on our website. So we're going to take this one web page and we're going to turn it into a website. And in order to do that, we need to plan just a little bit. And I'm just going to plan in a new HTML document so I can show you guys what I'm doing. So disregard the HTML, but here is my plan. I'm going to have a home page. I'm going to have a page about rafting. I'm going to have a page about teaching. I'm going to have a page about my family, and I'm going to have a page about my friends. So those are the 5 pages that I'm going to have in my website. I also need to plan out what the names of those pages are going to be. So my index page is going to be, or my home page will have to be named index.html. My rafting page is going to be rafting.html. My teaching page is going to be teaching.html. My family page is going to be family.html. And my friends page is going to be friends.html. Notice that I did not make any of these pages complicated with their naming techniques. And I've also decided that those pages are going to be lowercase, no spaces. Once you have those planned out, you will notice that if I look right now at my public_HTML, I have two things in there. So remember, you do too. You have an About Me, and then you have your Java Jam. My About Me page just has an index page. So I do not have more than one page in my website right now, but that is going to change. So just like I told you before, everything that you put in a bag to go on a plane on vacation, that's all that's going to be there. So you need to make sure you pack everything in your bag or it won't get to your destination. Same thing goes for the website. So we're going to make sure that all of the pages of the site are saved directly into this About Me root folder. So the one thing you want to make sure is that you have your homepage looking just like you want it before you start doing your save as or making copies of this page. It's not that important right now, the look for the look, because you haven't really learned how to style yet. But you do want to make sure that you have all the elements, because if you forget to put your header or your nav elements in or your main, once you make 5 copies of this, you're going to have to go and do it on 5 different pages. So you don't want to have to do that over and over and over again. So I have everything that I want on this page. And now what I need to do is I need to make a navigation bar. And so in order to make a navigation bar, we need to make some hyperlinks to all of these pages. So the first one is going to be a hyperlink to the home page. And I'm going to put the word home in, and that's where it's going to link to. Notice that when you do a navigation bar, your navigation bar has to be the same on every single page. So you can't leave out page names depending on what page you're on. You also can't move your navigation bar around because it will confuse your audience. So our navigation bar will be on every single page. And even if we're on that page, we're still going to link to that page because it provides consistency in our website. So I have my home page, and now I need to do another one. And I can refer to my planning document. I have a rafting page now. So I'm going to go to the rafting page. This page is not created, but it will be soon. And then I have my next one is teaching and then family. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's teaching. I'm going to do another one. You want to make sure that everything is spelled right when you're doing this, because again, if you mess up, you're going to have to change your spelling on all 5 pages and not just one. And my last link is going to be to a friends page. So I've got that. I'm going to check and make sure I spelled everything right, if everything looks right. Now, if you want, you'll notice when I save it and I go to check out what it looks like in the browser. And I move it over a little bit. It looks like this. You can see that these are sort of running together and there's no real distinguishing between all of the different pages. We will learn how to do navigation bars, but not yet as far as making them look nice. So what you can do as a little hack is in between your different things, you can put 2 little dots if you want. Or you could put a straight up and down bar to separate these out. I'll save it so you can see what they look like. But whatever you want to do, however you want to space it out, you could just put some spaces in between too. Some of those non-breaking spaces with the ampersand NBSP semicolon would do it as well. So I'm going to stick with those 2 little colons to separate my pages out. And now I have a nav bar. You'll notice that when I go over here, my nav bar is not going to work because I have not created any of these pages yet. So that's okay. You can notice though that up on my URL, my page is changing and it is going to a page that doesn't exist, which is what I want to have happen. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to start making my copies. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. And I'm going to save the first one as rafting. And in my web program, you can see that now I have 2 pages, an index page and a rafting page. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to, oh, it looks like it's giving me an error because my doc type has to be declared first. My bad. I'm going to take my little comment up at the top off. It's a good thing I checked that. Maybe what I should have done before I actually copied and pasted all these pages is I should have validated my code to make sure that it's valid. So make sure on yours that you validate your home page before you make copies, because if you have 5 errors, all of a sudden that's going to turn into 25 errors that you have to fix. So I'm going to save as, and I'm going to call it teaching. I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to call it family. And file, save as, and I'm going to call it friends. Now I'm going to make sure they're all saved. So I'm going to save all. I'm going to go back. I'm going to refresh my browser window. And now you're going to notice that I do not have any content changing on these pages because they're all the same. But if I look at my URL up at the top, you can see that it's changing depending on what page I'm on. So I've done that right. And now it's time for me to go in and change out my content just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull this bulleted list where it says this summer I went swimming with my kids at the following lakes. I'm going to put that on family, and I'm going to delete out all my other content. And I need to make sure that I change my header. So instead of saying Dawn Rauscher, it's going to say Dawn Rauscher family. And also, instead of saying Dawn Rauscher all about me, it's going to say Dawn Rauscher family. My friends, the same thing. I'm going to change this to friends. I'm going to say Dawn Rauscher -friends. I'm going to make sure that on this page, I don't have any of this. And I don't expect you to put content on all these pages, but I do want you to write a couple sentences about what you plan on putting on this page. You can pull things from your home page and switch it out into all the different pages if you want. You can also just leave all the content you had put on your index page initially alone for now, whatever you want to do. So on my friends, I'm going to say, I love spending time with my friends. On this page, I am going to put some pictures up of my friends. So now that page is done. I'm going to make sure I save it. I'm going to go to my family page and save that too. I'm going to go to my teaching page, and I think I have something that says I'm an instructor at FECC. So I'll leave that one thing in there, and I'm going to delete everything else. I'm going to go up to my header, and I'm going to say Dawn Rauscher teaching. I'm going to change this to teaching, and that page is done. Then I'm going to go to my rafting. I'm going to change this to rafting. I'm going to put something here that says rafting. You can be more creative than this. I'm just trying to show you how to do it, so I don't want to spend too much time. On this, I'm going to put in this, one of my passions is going down the Grand Canyon. And now what I have, I'm going to go back to my index page. This one, I'm just going to leave one of my paragraphs. And I'm going to leave my title and my header the same on this one. So I'm going to do a save. And now if I go back and I look at it, I now have a completed website with content on every page that changes. That is what I expect you to do for the lab assignment on how to create a website. There is a handout that goes along with it. It does have some spots for you to fill things in. So if you print it out, you can write on it. I do not need you to turn this in. What I need you to do is once you're finished with all of this, then you're going to go to your public_HTML folder and you're going to re-upload it. So you're going to take your About Me root folder with all 5 of your pages and you're going to overwrite what you did last week. So you'll take that and you'll throw it into the Home2 server and you will upload your completed website. It should have structural elements. It should have your comments, your HTML comments, and then it should have 5 pages that are linked together. And I hope you have a great week. Bye.